she tells you that. Chrissy Hines here of the Pretenders, talking about gigs in the garden now. It's one of those lockdown things that will emerge. Don't know how long it will last, but I'll tell you something, that Eamon Sullivan, who is the chief nurse of the Nightingale Hospital, was so lucky to have these two guys, Will Cashel and Ben Bruant, planning to give him a free gig in his garden. So, Will, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very good, Dotun. How are you?
Very well. Ben, you there?
Yes, I'm there as well, yeah.
Great to speak to you both. Thank you very much.
Great to speak to you. First song too before as well.
Oh, of course, yeah, it's all rock and roll, and not just in the garden, but genuinely in the gardens, because my wife, who's a performer, put on a gig in the garden last week. Only one neighbour complained, and to be fair to her, she came and complained because they made the mistake of doing the sound check at full volume in the garden, whereas they should have just waited till the gig in the garden. Do you know what I mean? Instead of
a bit risky, but
well, because the sound check goes on for 3 hours. You musician, let me get the drum sound just right. And the neighbours don't know that. They think that's the gig. It's like, oh, why is she playing it again over and over again? So what are the rules? What are the rules, essentially, of having a gig in a garden? Will first.
Rules by what sense? Do you mean what rules do we have to follow?
Yeah, do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts, because obviously we know what it is like to have a gig in a venue. So, you know, the roadies will rock up a few hours earlier and they'll upload all the gear and then they'll put it on stage and then the superstars will come on, play their instruments, then they'll go off and have a little bit of a kip. Then the crowd will come in later on and the gig will go on and then they'll say, do you want an encore? And they'll pretend to go off and then everyone will say, yeah, more. And then they'll come back and say, that's how it works in a concert. How different is it in a garden?
The first thing you have to do is to check the weather, obviously.
Good point.
Because if it's raining, you're going to cancel.
It's very similar. We just like to, we load up it's not a massive truck, I have to say, but we turn up and then we usually go around the back way, and then we set up in their garden, do a very, very small sound check, I like to add, and then give a cracking gig for them, basically.
Okay, and Ben mentioned the weather. Obviously, that will be an overriding factor. The other factor might be the neighbours, like we discovered last week. Only one neighbour, like I said, she loved the music, but it's a shame that after about 4 or 5 hours, she said, look, come on, give it a rest, folks. Give it a rest. And it was good because they were just about to give it a rest in any case. But what else? Neighbours, how do you...
Yeah, the thing is that you've got to tell them before. That's it. If people know what's going to happen, usually they actually join instead of complaining. They just look on top of the fence or from their window if they can see, or time to time they're invited to join. So it's really simple.
We've had half the neighbour turn up to some of the gigs or watching from their gardens. Yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah.
Half the neighbours. And does it matter what kind of music you play? Because obviously if they don't like what you're playing, then they might think, okay, give it 5 minutes, guys. I've got work to do in the morning.
Luckily, we've got a very broad range of stuff we do. We play a bit of jazz stuff, we do some rock covers, we've got all sorts of different things that some flamenco, and we found that most people will like something that we play.
And you're clearly, I mean, that's the best way to do it, isn't it? Like, be like troubadours, be prepared to play a wide range of things, or almost like a busker on the streets. You never know who's going to come along.
Exactly, yeah. So we've got a massive repertoire, I'd say. So we've got a good song choice, yeah.
But when did all this start, Ben? Because it must have been very, it must be the opposite of what you were preparing for before lockdown. I imagine you were preparing for real gigs or festivals or something like that. It's summertime.
We had many gigs, many concerts, festivals, and everything planned, and everything got cancelled within a week. And like every other musician out there, we moved online because we couldn't play in front of people. So we began to do every Friday night a gig, which was in our flat at the beginning, because obviously we were not allowed to go to people's garden. And then the restriction changed. We were allowed to go play there, and we were like, instead of doing a live gig in our living room, why not going to some people's house, people who have walked through the crisis, people who have helped through crisis, and, people who really, put themselves on the line. And it's a nice way to say thank you very much for their work, for their energy, for their time, for what they did for the country.
How different, though, is that energy, Will? How different is the energy of a live gig, the kind of stuff that you're preparing for, that Ben described a moment ago, that all disappeared within a week? Although in my missus' case, it was like one day, literally. I think it was a Sunday. It was a Sunday after the Prime Minister. One gig after the other, just all disappearing. And, no sign of a gig for the next year or so. How difficult is that energy that you provide for a live gig? Then for a gig in the garden, it seems like a little bit of a laid-back affair.
Do you know what? I like to keep it laid back, but we like to give it as much energy as we've got, really. Same for every single gig. So we like to put on a good show and make sure that everybody has a really good time. So yeah, we try and keep the levels the same.
And it's a summertime thing, isn't it? Like, I'm going to raise a fuss, I'm going to raise a holler about working all summer just to make $1. That kind of thing. It's a summertime thing, because when winter comes, you don't want to be doing gigs in the garden, do you?
Well, under the snow.
Yeah, we're planning to do it. We're planning to keep these going all the way through the summer, and with a bit of luck, we're going to try and put on a big gig for all the people that have been nominated, and hopefully we'll put on a big show for everybody at the end of the summer somewhere.
People who've been nominated for what?
For the gig in your garden, any of the people somebody gets nominated every week and then we choose someone to come and play. So hopefully all the people that got nominated and those who didn't get picked will be able to do a big gig at the end of the summer somewhere in London, and hopefully everybody can cram in there and can watch a proper gig with us playing.
That would be really interesting. That feels like, let me not exaggerate, but it does feel like the proms, at some point during the course of the summer, we'll all get together and have I'm not saying jingoistic, I'm taking that word out, but we'll all have a sort of a celebration of gigs in the garden. That sounds like the end of the proms, last night of the proms. That could be fantastic.
Well, I hope so. Spread the word.
Well, you're spreading the word. No need for me to do it. You're on London radio right here.
Very true.
Of course, you're both classical guitarists, Royal Academy classical guitarists, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great, but prove it.
Okay. You want a little tune, yeah? Okay.
Well, something.
We're going to play you something. It's not going to be strictly classical. We're, as you said, we're classically trained, but we slightly moved from classical music to play songs more rhythmic with perhaps a bit more summary. So we're going to play you something that you're probably going to know.
By a band called Clean Bandit. This one's called Mama.
Take it away, maestros. That was more than the 3 chords that we bargained for when we talked about pop music. You had some chords within chords as well there, I was hearing, and I thought, wow, that's going to take a little bit of getting used to. It was beautiful as it was, don't get me wrong.
Thank you very much.
It was really very beautiful. Who was playing the rhythm, who was playing the lead there?
We both do. We both, at the beginning I was playing the rhythm, and Will came in with the lead in the chorus, and then when we came to the verse, I actually took the lead, and we swapped, and we keep swapping. It's like a dialogue between both of us.
And I shouldn't even say the lead, because arguably it's like who's playing the rhythm and who's playing the melody, because the rhythm is so pronounced there, the way that you're doing it. And I know the reason why is to fill in, isn't it, to a certain extent, to fill in the fact that there isn't a bass and a drum and everything else. So the rhythm almost becomes a lead instrument.
Yes, it does.
Can
you still hear us?
I've lost both of them, haven't I?
Sorry, I think something's...
Isn't that incredible? Just as I had a killer question there. I actually thought that was the best question of the night. Hopefully we'll be able to get them back in a moment or two. It's always the way. Are you there? You both there? Are you both there? Are you both there still?
Yes, we are there. Sorry, we had a small technical problem. The mic just shut down. I have no idea why.
In the eternal battle between technology and artist, one or the other will win out. I'm not sure if the artist will survive the cut, but there you go. For the meanwhile, you're adapting to the new reality. Will it carry on, though, these gig in the gardens? When lockdown finally comes to an end, will it still be a thing? Like for example, cooking at home will be a new thing, certainly for me and a few other people.
Yeah, I think we've had so much fun doing these gigs. Well, I think they might slow down. The frequency might not be as much, but we're definitely going to keep doing some live gigs. Yeah.
What do people want? What difference does it make to a community or a neighbourhood or a group of houses all grouped together when you play a gig like this? What's the response generally of people who have spent the last 4 months in lockdown? Let's face it.
I think everybody, you don't realise it at the time, but people miss live music, and it's when we turn up and play, I think everybody just enjoys hearing some good live music and having a good time.
And the gardens do seem it's very difficult, very different, I suppose. Is it different in France, Ben? I was thinking from your accent, you might have the experience of how the musical lockdown has been experienced in France. I was thinking Paris and London. In Paris, a lot of people, certainly the centre of Paris, most people don't have gardens, do they? Because they live in, the ancient Paris as designed by Haussmann or whoever designed it. And I just wonder whether the experience is different. They've got their courtyards, of course, that they could have great concerts and it'd be all the houses around it. Is the experience different, do you think, here, compared to France?
I think obviously in France, I think it was a bit like in Italy, mostly in Paris, where we saw many people doing music on their balcony, for their neighbors.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you're on the countryside and there's a chance for a garden, you have a garden.
Yeah, in Britain, though, you know what we're like in Britain, Ben? You've been here long enough. We're very particular about our homes being our castles and our gardens being, the grounds of our castle, and anybody who dares infringe on it, we will make a complaint. And I've had a complaint from one of my neighbours in the middle of the day having a little bit of volume on my, my Bluetooth speakers out in the go. It wasn't even that much. And I thought it was all about the fact that he didn't like reggae, so I switched it to acoustic Johnny Cash, the American recording sessions, and I thought he'd appreciate that. In fact, he came down and complained some more, and I was like, what? I've now turned it into acoustic music. You know what I mean? We just don't like the fact that somebody's coming along and interfering with what we describe as our peace and quiet. It's not like in France, where everybody can play music as loud as they want for as long as they want, and nobody ever complains, is it?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Everywhere where we played, we were really welcome. But obviously, people knew in advance that we were going to play. We don't just turn up at the door. In which case, they might react a bit differently. But they knew in advance, and everybody was there. Everybody had a drink, had a really good time. Everybody was smiling. There were children around dancing. We had some singing. We had, people really responded really well. So yeah.
Do you not think though, Will, given this, that the government should give some dispensation, because it's something to encourage everybody around, within reason, that the government should be able to say, look, you can have a gig in your garden, not too loud, an acoustic gig in your garden, and, between the hours of, let's say, 7 o'clock in the evening and 8 o'clock in the evening, when people are just winding down, so nobody will be really bothered by it. If they are, they can close their windows, but for the local community, you can have this great gig in your garden that will just lift everybody up and make everybody feel good as well, because that's the power of music, that's the magic of music. You can feel down one moment, and then the next moment you feel great, and particularly live music, as you've said, Will, can do that for you, can't it? Shouldn't the government just say, look, come on, we've been under lockdown. We're just going to allow music to be played in your gardens, concerts in your garden from now. Let's encourage this between 6 and 7 every evening, or one evening a week, something like that.
Awesome. They should do that.
Right, so I didn't get any resistance from you on that one. I must try harder. Let's do it. Any other tune to play us out on, gentlemen? Anything that we could bop to on our way out this as the programme comes to an end now? Anything, a request maybe?
I'll play you out. Sure, this one's called Senorita. This is by a lady called Camilla Cabello.
So I don't get to make a request then?
Oh, go on, we've got to know it. But you can give us a bash. Test us.
There is a rose in Spanish Harlem. The only thing on my mind, first thing on my mind. Okay, well, anything you want to play, guys.
This one's a quick one called Senorita. Here we go. 3, 4.
Gentlemen, thank you so very much. Very quickly, Will, how can people find out more about gigs in your garden?
Thank you very much for mentioning. So you can find us, you can go to our website, which is duoguitarmusic.com. You can go to our website, you can go to our Facebook, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Duo Guitar Music.
This is BBC Radio London.
Thank you. I don't know why it cut out, but we got back there, so.
You take care, alright?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.